I think the difference is having to be extremely focused on where you want to compete online. I often tell, brands and businesses, don't try to be on every channel. Don't try to be the best local plumber on 7 different channels and platforms. Pick the 2 or 3 that you think are going to help to drive the best results for your business, and really focus your energy, your resources, your budget in those places.
The following is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that helps you get the job, manage the job, and get credit.
Hey, this is Gordon Henry at Winning on Main Street, the show devoted to small business success. And this week, we're fortunate to have Ryan Sawrie. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Great to have you. So before we get started, brief intro on Ryan. Ryan's an author, an agency owner, a digital zeal, and marketer with more than a decade's worth of experience working with brands on their digital and social media strategies. His book, Build Your Digital Strategy, helps business owners learn how to take the steps toward building a successful digital strategy for their company. So lots to learn here. Ryan has also run, I think I have this right, 8 marathons. My God, makes me tired just thinking about it. So let's start with a little about you, Ryan. There's a funny story I came across about your first job and what happened on the first anniversary of starting that job. Can you tell us that story?
Sure. So I graduated college in 2007, hustled to get that first marketing job, even got a small promotion there in that first year. And my 1-year anniversary in the company came in the fall of 2008. And in the morning, the typical email went out company-wide. Congrats, Ryan, on his 1-year anniversary. About 2 hours later, I got a call into the director's office where I was informed that I was being let go, along with quite a few other people in the business. So just kind of an ironic couple of hours there.
That is really funny. By the way, where are you speaking to us from today, Ryan?
I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Indianapolis. Okay, great. Middle of the country. Good to have you. So there's a line in your website that I really related to that I wanted to ask you about. You said, literally every marketing job I've ever had didn't exist before I held it. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of the nature of, where we are in history a little bit, and given my own interest in this digital space. So every job that I have held, and when I applied for it, is a position that didn't exist at the agency or the business before I held it. So that means that these jobs are things like a social media strategist or a content director or a director of digital strategy. And because of that, I've really had to be entrepreneurial. I've really had to carve out my own path, I guess, within those roles, because no one really knew what they wanted out of those jobs. It was just a felt need of, we need somebody to take this on because no one else is doing it. So that's really where I've been stepping in at lots of different points in my career.
Right. So really fast evolving space and everybody's sort of figuring it out as they go, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get into digital strategy, which is your kind of forte and domain.
Yeah.
Most small businesses, and that's our our listenership, small businesses, I think, know they need to develop a digital marketing strategy.
Yeah.
But they aren't really sure where to start or what it's going to cost. I know that's a big topic, that's your whole life, but can you provide us with some guidance, particularly for the smaller business?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, this is what the book I wrote is all about, is trying to help small and medium-sized business owners to navigate this on their own if they want to. So I'll give you the flyby on what that process is. So it really starts with alignment and just figuring out, what are your goals as a business? Is it, a lot of people have the goal of more sales. Well, when it comes to digital, what does that look like for your business? Not everyone sells products online. Some people only sell in person. So what can digital actually do for you to help you get in-person sales if that's your business? What can it actually do for you to get more leads over the phone if that's the way you prefer to bring leads in? I don't claim to believe that digital can do anything and everything for a business, but it can do some things. And the important part here is figuring out what can it actually do to help you help you achieve the goals that you have for your business. The next part then is figuring out your brand. I'm sure you've talked a lot about this on your podcast over the years, but just really digging into your brand identity, establishing what you look, think, sound, and smell like on digital and social channels is really important so that you can have consistency from your website to your Facebook to your email campaigns across the board. And within that, I think, is your audience targeting. So who is it that you're trying to reach? You shouldn't be trying to reach everybody. You should have a specific group of people that you want to go after. C then stands for content strategy. So what's your plan and why for developing content to get in front of your audience? What is it that is going to help move them from knowing nothing about your business, not caring about it at all, towards having an interest in contacting you and visiting you in person, whatever that might be. It starts with a specific kind of content, and you want to align that up then with the things we've already talked about, with your goals, your audience, your brand. And I put content before this next step, which is distribution, which is D. I think a lot of times business owners make this mistake of, I've got to be on TikTok, I've got to be on Instagram Reels, whatever it might be today, and go straight to that. And so they might make that first post that says, hey, we made it to TikTok, celebrate with us. And for 6 months, there's not another post, right? Well, it's because you started with the channel and you didn't start with the content and the why. So I like to start there with content and then really think about, where does that content belong in the digital world? Is it email? Is it your website? Is it Twitter? Whatever it might be. So that's channels. And then next is evaluation. So just having some metrics, potential KPIs in place for you to determine, how are you deciding whether what you're doing is successful or not? This has to go, again, back to the goals that we've talked about in the first step. But now you've started to fill in the blanks of how you're getting to those goals. And so now we can actually talk about what are some goal numbers and measurables that we can put into place. And then the last piece that is maybe the most fun is F, which is for finding ideas. So I say in the book that, this isn't just about building a strategy and like putting slides together or whatever, but this is about putting great marketing campaigns together too. If you've gone through that whole process that I've just described, you've definitely been coming up with some ideas along the way. They're going to help you to separate your business online from your competitors. So that's the 4-minute explanation of how I coach people on how to develop strategies that work for their business.
Yeah, no, that's really good, because I think so many people just want to jump into tactics and execution. Let me post something, let me buy an ad, and they don't think through the steps from, what do I want to be, or what's the brand's voice, and those steps you talked about, sort of leading up to the tactics, and then also on the back end, more like the measurement and the analysis. It's really a process, and it's not just do a couple of posts or buy a couple of ads. So that's really well put. So along those lines, let me voice a concern I have. You've worked, I think, with big brands as well as small companies. Big brands have gotten so good at digital marketing. They know how to dominate the search engine results pages. Can little guys like local plumbers or pizza shops or landscapers compete in this world?
Yes and no. I think from the no side, what I mean by that is, I think for the small business owner, nonprofit, whoever that might be, who has a limited resource, I think the difference is having to be extremely focused on where you want to compete online. I often tell, brands and businesses, don't try to be on every channel. Don't try to be the best local plumber on 7 different channels and platforms. Pick the 2 or 3 that you think are going to help to drive the best results for your business, and really focus your energy, your resources, your budget in those places.
I wanted to ask you, we've been talking about digital media. Does what you do include helping small businesses with software? We talk a lot about the need for small businesses to adopt modern software on our show here, CRM software, so they have a digital database, so they can interact with their customers digitally, emails and texts, but also digital appointments, reminders, estimates, invoices, payments, that kind of stuff that we naturally expect from bigger businesses. Do you advocate for that? Is that something you think it's important?
Yeah, absolutely. I just was consulting with the nonprofit organization, and that was one of the biggest takeaways is, how are you managing the contacts that come your way? Right now, it's kind of all over the place, and there's not much strategy behind it. So we talked a lot about how do you integrate that, and how do you create, you've probably used this word a lot, sales or content funnels that help to move people from that process of having no clue about your brand, not caring about it at all, to being a potential customer or lead for you. And CRM platforms are extremely helpful and sometimes necessary for, allowing people to move through that process. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, and don't go away. We'll be back with more with Ryan Sawrie.
This episode of Winning on Main Street is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that includes everything small business owners need to meet their customers' expectations. Thryv's award-winning and fully mobile interface delivers technology previously reserved for big business to the fingertips of small business owners nationwide. Thryv's built specifically for small business, but there's nothing small about what it can do. Thryv handles your entire customer experience, helping business owners reach more customers, stay organized, get paid faster, and generate online reviews, all from a single device or screen. To learn more about Thryv, visit winningonmainstreet.com and click on Get a Demo. When it comes to software to run your business, there's no comparison. Check out Thryv today.
And we're back with Ryan Sawrie, having a fantastic conversation about digital marketing and all the things that small businesses should be thinking about in terms of how to better build their brand, communicate with prospects and customers digitally, and then do things to make sure they keep coming back. You guys should definitely look him up, and maybe even check out his agency, which is called Digital Zeal. So Ryan, what's wrong with the digital marketing that you see most small businesses doing? What mistakes do they make?
I mean, the number one mistake I see is trend chasing. And what I mean by that is, whatever the hottest app or the trending hashtag might be, that brands and businesses, feel the need to scramble and send resources and time and energy in that direction. One of the biggest pitfalls here that I've seen over the years is May the 4th be with you day. Now, I don't have any problem with Star Wars or brands that want to take part in this, but it's become a thing where, your small pizza shop or local business feels like, I need a custom graphic, I need something big for May the 4th be with you day, when their brand really has nothing to do with geek culture or spaceships or anything like this. Now, if you want to dedicate resources, that's fine, but I'm trying to come at this from a perspective of, where do you need to spend your energy to drive results for your business? And chasing the latest trends, the Dolly Parton challenge, whatever it might be, is typically not going to move you in that direction towards reaching your goals. And the same can be said, the hot conversation is, do I need a TikTok account? I can't answer that question for everyone, but I know that you have to think about, does it make sense for my brand and business to dedicate time and energy and resources to adding another channel that someone has to basically be in front of the camera to create content for? I can't just hire a graphic designer. So yeah, just getting very caught up in trend chasing is typically where I see businesses make big mistakes.
Yeah, good advice. How should a small business think about paid versus earned media? We tend to jump to buying things, but there's a whole world of, I call it earned media. All that content creation where you can get lookups, even improve your rankings just by delivering great content about what you do or your specialties or products you sell or things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What's your thought on paid versus earned and specifically about small businesses?
Yeah. I think from a paid perspective, obviously there's big advantages there. One is you're just getting in front of your customer potentially faster than you would be otherwise with organic social media or something like that. But what I love about shared media or earned media, as you might say, is this ability to get in front of other people's audiences that they've already developed who might have your perfect customer, ready and waiting for you. So we see this a lot on things like podcasts where you partner with someone to go onto their show because you think the audience they have makes sense for your company as well and your brand, and you kind of share audiences and marketing platforms with one another. And the ways to apply that are infinite. It could be your blog, your social media, your email newsletter. There's so many opportunities. The time and energy there is on going and finding those potential partnerships, researching podcasts or social media sites that people have already built that might have an audience that makes sense for you. So those are typically, ones that don't cost you any money to participate in and partner with, which is obviously a big difference from a paid campaign. But I think the great thing about it is it probably has a better guarantee on reaching the right audience than even a paid campaign potentially might have, because someone's already gone and done some of that work for you to build an audience. So yeah, that's part of where I see the breakdown. They both have their advantages. Obviously, it comes down to budget and resources, as I keep saying. But nowadays, there's just a lot of new opportunities for things like earned and partnership media.
Mm-hmm. Should a small business be thinking about hiring a marketing person? I mean, I guess obviously that depends a little bit on how small they really are, but have you seen that succeed? Is that something they should be thinking about? Maybe at a certain point, hiring someone to just manage all this internally?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to think about there. If I hire a marketing person, is there still some outsourcing that I'm going to have to do? Nowadays, I think people are looking for that unicorn employee that can write social media copy and video edit and graphic design, and those people are few and far between. So you have to think about, if I hire someone, am I really eliminating all of the outsourcing needs that I currently have and I need? And am I okay with that if it doesn't? So that's a big question mark. The other one for me is, do I want to bring on a marketing person that I have to manage, that I have to teach and coach some of these skills about my business to, or it may just make more sense to work with someone like a consultant like myself, a small agency that already has those skills and expertise, so I don't have to manage someone. They can handle my needs when it comes to video and graphic design as well. There's a lot of layers there, but I think for a small business, it can definitely make sense to hire a junior marketing person if that fits their budget. But typically, it's not going to check every box that you might feel that you have for your business right now.
Right. We're entering a recession, it seems like, and how should an SMB think about digital marketing when times get tough like now? How does that play into your thinking about marketing and digital marketing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reports are starting to come out. I think it was Twitter and Snapchat very recently who had these low earnings ratings. And I think Snapchat in particular blamed it on recession and saying advertisers aren't spending with us because they anticipate things falling. What I just continue to come back to is, for small and medium business in particular, it just continues to accentuate the need for strategy. So do you have, plans in place? Are you laser focused on the places in the digital platforms and social media channels that are driving revenue, that are helping you to achieve your goals as a business? If you're not already doing that, then a recession, forces you a little bit more to think that way. What I would hate to see people do is just pull all of their ad spend, cancel their campaigns and channels because of this. But what I love to see people do is actually maybe narrow their focus and direct their budgets and their efforts to some specific things that they have attainable goals for.
Right. I suppose in a recession, maybe it gives an advertiser or a small business who's thinking about marketing an opportunity to get those ads a little cheaper, right? Like maybe they have a little more bargaining power.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if fewer people are spending, in general, the big brands are spending less, then that does open up some window and some inventory for a small business. Yeah, online.
So before we go, I wanted to ask you about more on the personal side, your marathons. I think I read you had 8 marathons under your belt. That's 8 more marathons than I have under my belt. That's really impressive. What's that like, being out there doing all that? I'm sure tons of preparation and just all that time on the road. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's my therapy in some ways. Being out there alone, getting exercise, getting up early in the morning, being out by myself. And I think a lot of being in advertising all these years, a lot of just great thinking has honestly occurred while I've been out for a 15-mile training run or something like that. And over the years, when I've had work travel as well, it's a fantastic way to see the places that you're traveling to and visiting by getting out and running the city streets or the city trails or the shoreline that you're at. So I didn't grow up a runner. I didn't start this until after college. But it's just been a great, hobby I accidentally kind of fell into.
Yeah, lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, very impressive. Congratulations. And just wanted to thank you for stopping by. Great to have you on the show.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Gordon. It's great to be here.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, please tell a friend or colleague to subscribe. Please leave us a 5-star review. It helps us in the rankings, and we'd really appreciate it. I want to thank our producer, Tim Alleman, and our coordinators, Diet Barnett and Daniel Huddleston. Until next time, make it a great week.